Welcome to the Casual Birder podcast. I'm Susie Buttress. As a casual birder, I take pleasure in watching the wild birds around me, wherever I am. In my show, I share the joy of birding. I tell you about the birds I've seen, speak with experts and enthusiasts, go on bird outings, and I share stories from birders around the world. March the 8th every year is International Women's Day. This annual event provides a focus to celebrate the achievements of women and a call to action to challenge gender disparity. In celebration of International Women's Day this year, I'm thrilled to introduce you to women birders from around the world who share the motivation behind their birding passion and provide insights into the profound impact of birdwatching on personal well-being. These women bring a wealth of knowledge and enthusiasm to the conversation, and their stories will resonate with and inspire birders everywhere. I asked them some core questions: what birding means to them, what challenges they faced as a woman birder, and is there a woman birder who's inspired them or helped them on their birding journey? Using these questions as a prompt, they shared their unique experiences and perspectives on birding. We'll hear about Kristina's love for learning about birds in Germany, Emily's passion for birding that was sparked by watching herons in her parents' garden, Sarah's joy of observing garden birds in Essex, Colette's lifelong passion for birds that has led to postgraduate learning and extensive birding travels, Nish's enjoyment of birding providing connection to nature and her appreciation of online community, Steph's commitment to recording data from hawk watches to assist conservation, Chiara's transformative journey finding healing through birding, Kate's peaceful birding adventures on Phillip Island in Australia, Charlie's exploration of nature in the UK, and her appreciation of the warm welcome from women birders that she's met, and Kirsty's commitment to creating supportive birding communities in Australia.
Hi, my name's Emily. I'm from Essex. I have been into birding since I was very young. It started due to my interest in herons and other birds in my parents' garden, which started my lifelong passion. Birding has always been a big part of my life for so many reasons. It's a way for me to get outdoors and away from everyday life, as I currently work in an office. And also I love just going out to see what birds I can find, and also I get to see beautiful sunsets, sunrises, and also scenic views. And also you just never know what you're going to find out there. I have faced many challenges as a woman birder in the past, not so much now due to social media, things have changed. But when I was a young birder, I did find, mainly when I was growing up, that there wasn't many people in my age group that were interested, that I went to school with. And also being a woman as well was more seen as a man's hobby. So when I did used to go out, I was very much had to go out with my parents. I didn't have any friends to go with because nobody was interested that I went to school with. And on many occasions, if I'd seen a rare bird and I'd reported it, I would often be accused that I'd not seen it due to being a female or being young, and that I didn't know what I was talking about. So I had a lot of those sort of problems growing up. So when I used to find birds, I used to tend to start keeping it to myself. I never used to report things because of those reasons. And I tend to struggle for a long time because I didn't really have anyone to hang out with. So it was just on my own or with my parents. But when I was really young, I had no choice but to go out with my parents. But they're really into wildlife and they've always been very supportive. So yeah, I've just basically always struggled until my mid-20s when Facebook came about. So Facebook, there was a group set up through my local group. We all used to meet up regularly in some of my local patches, like Rainham Marshes was one of them. Also Southend Pier and a few other local places like Two Tree Island. So thanks to social media, it has helped. And it's also brought out a lot more where more women have come out and said that they're interested in birding, and now there's lots of people in my birding groups that I go out with that are women as well as men, so it's mixed groups and mixed ages as well, so it's really nice to always include younger people if they're interested as well. Due to my interest in herons and bitterns, I have had a big interest in reading old bird books. So I've been into that for quite some time. So I tend to buy like books that are like over 100 years old, and it's the history that's recorded in them, mainly in Britain, about life of bitterns, because it doesn't seem like there's much known about them, and it seems that these books are a lot more detailed than the modern books about them. But due to that interest, I came across a lady that has been writing books. She's got other books that she's written, but her name's Emma Turner, and she wrote a book called Broadland Birds, which I think was around the 1920s. I think she wrote that book, and she studied bitterns and wrote about them, and I believe she may have photographed them, because there is some photos in the book. I think they were taken by her. And she has inspired me, because I don't believe there is many women writers back then. I've never really had many books with any other female writers around that sort of time. But she's very inspiring. It sounds like she spent a lot of her time researching birds and enjoyed watching them. And I believe it may have been on her own. But she's written in such detail about things. It's just inspired me that women can do anything, and that nothing should stop you, no matter whether it's something is seen as a man's hobby or not. You should continue doing something that you enjoy.
Hello, this is Kristina from Germany. I live southeast of Berlin. Birding is super important to me. I go out with my husband at the weekends, for example, and we have a really good time looking for birds, doing our eBird lists and so on. I love learning about birds. I really get thrilled when I hear species for the first time in the year, when, for example, the migrating birds are coming back, like recently the skylarks. Hooray! And it's also great for my mental health. Like going out birding helps me to be in the here and now, and seeing and listening what is going on, so I can forget about any kind of worries from work and so on. Challenges as a women birder I haven't faced, luckily. So I'm really happy here that I can go out even at night in the parks or in the forests, for example, when I look for owls. No issues there, and this is great. I am aware that this isn't the case for many women around the world. Yeah, so I am lucky in this respect, and I am aware that I'm on the good side here. A women birder who has inspired me. I don't know if she can count as a birder. I am thinking about Len Howard here, who lived in Wales and in England. Then later on, especially, she had a little cottage in the south of England, and she lived there with great tits, blue tits, and other kinds of birds, but mostly different kinds of tits. And when I first heard about this and how she could distinguish between the individual birds, it was absolutely brilliant. And this is a bit of a role model for me also, not to kind of brush away what some people might think about as ordinary birds, because even though they possibly great in numbers, still with the decline in species and so on, Len Howard is a woman who has inspired me to pay attention to small details, and also to, don't take anything for granted, really. Happy Women's Day.
Hey everyone, Kirsty Costa here. I'm the host of Weekend Birder podcast in Australia. For me, birding is all about connection. It strengthens our connection to nature and the world around us. It strengthens our connection to ourselves, and it strengthens our connection to each other. There are so many bird-loving Australians who are passionate and kind and generous, and this wonderful hobby really does create vibrant and supportive communities. Thinking about challenges, when I first started Weekend Birder podcast, a few people questioned my right to talk about science, despite my expertise in science education. I've been wondering lately if this is because there's still work to be done in the visibility and recognition of women in science. Initially, it was a bit disheartening, but thankfully I found so much support since then. As for a women birder who inspires me, wow, that's really tough. I've been so lucky to meet so many amazing women and gender diverse people through my podcast. Scientists, authors, artists, comedians, and everyday birdwatchers. They all have stories and knowledge and skills to share, and it's an honour to continue to elevate these voices. Wishing everyone a happy International Women's Day.
Hello all, my name is Chiara and I'm an Italian birder and bird photographer. Birding has been simply life-changing for me because I found birds in the darkest period of my life, and not only they helped me heal, but they also gave me a new way to live and they gave me a new purpose in life. Since I started birding, I soon realized I wasn't meeting many women during my outdoor adventures, and it didn't take me much time to understand why that was the case. I felt different, especially at the beginning. I was struggling with the thought of not belonging there in nature. I really felt just like a little girl with no knowledge and no right to be there next to way more experienced and more equipped photographers and birders. I admit that I felt shame when taking out my camera out of my bag. Also, more than once, I felt unsafe while being alone in remote places, and I relied on my partner to be with me. Otherwise, I would have not gone to many spots, unfortunately. Now, with time, I was able to overcome some of these challenges, but something I kept noticing is that it takes more for a woman to be considered as a birder and as a bird photographer. It's like we have to work 10 times harder to be recognized. Anyway, I'm grateful that things look like they're changing, and I'm really happy every day when I see more and more women sharing their passion and their work through social media. And also, thanks a lot to Susie for letting us using this space to share about our experience.
My name is Colette and I live in Hampshire, United Kingdom. What birding means to me? Well, I've been interested in birds since the age of 8 years old when I received my first bird book, the Ladybird Book of Heath and Woodland Birds, which my mum bought for me. I received my first pair of binoculars aged 12 years. I grew up in Liverpool, United Kingdom, and my early birding years were spent in the wonderful local parks there, as well as on family holidays to North Wales and other parts of the United Kingdom. I was a member of the local Young Ornithologists Club, YOC, in Liverpool, and the local Liverpool Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, RSPB Club, enjoying many birding trips with them near and far. My parents always had a love of nature, which greatly influenced me. Birding has also been and is a huge part of my life, and it has led me to several things. It has led me to move jobs. In my job as a qualified children's nurse and adult nurse, I was able to move to Hampshire, hoping to do birding in the New Forest and see specialities like Dartford Warbler and Hobby, which I have been lucky to see many times since. Birding has led me to travel extensively, both around the United Kingdom and abroad, on organised birding trips and holidays, including Africa, America, South America, India, and other exciting places. It has led me to join local groups, as previously mentioned. Presently, I'm a member of the Hampshire Ornithological Society, known as HOSS, and their Lady Birders group, which is for women. I enjoy trips with them, and I'm also a member of the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Wildlife Trust. Travel and being a member of such groups has enabled me to meet new friends. Birding has also led me to study birds further. I have a real interest in bird behaviour. I completed a postgraduate certificate in ornithology at Birmingham University in my spare time, while still working in nursing. Birding has led me to become a volunteer, now that I'm retired, at my local wildlife trust reserve at Blashford Lakes as an education volunteer. I enjoy sharing my knowledge with the young people and encouraging their interest in birds and the natural world. Birding is my happy place. I love being out and about birding, always have done, learning about new bird species and enjoying the natural world around me. Challenges. Often in the past, I was one of the few young female birders in groups and organised bird holidays. My friends were fascinated by my unusual hobby. I'm happy to go off on my own birding, but I would not go to remote, quiet places on my own. I enjoy going with friends and with small organised groups. As a female birder, male birders often appeared surprised at my experience and knowledge, which can sometimes happen even now. I admire Sherry L. Williamson. Sherry is a naturalist, conservationist, and hummingbird researcher. She is one of America's foremost experts in hummingbirds. I am passionate about hummingbirds, my favourite species, having observed them in North America, Trinidad and Tobago, and Venezuela. My ambition is to see all the hummingbirds of the world. That may be too ambitious, but I would like to see as many hummingbird species as possible. I've read all of Sherry L. Williamson's books. I would love to meet her, attend some of her talks, and join one of her organised bird holidays.
This is Sarah from Essex in the UK. What birding means to me? Well, I really love standing in the kitchen looking out at my garden while I'm making a drink before I go back to work, and seeing the long-tailed tits, the blue tits, the great tits over the feeders in the garden. I absolutely adore that part, and if the sun is shining too, it's glorious. The woman birder who has inspired me the most is you, Susie Buttress. Thank you very much.
Hello, Susie. My name is Kate Crock. I am a birder based in Melbourne in Victoria, Australia. However, most of my birding is done at our second home on Phillip Island in Victoria, which is located about an hour and 3/4 to 2 hours from Melbourne. There are some fantastic birding places there, and I've been lucky enough to spend lots of time there and do lots of birding there. Birding to me it's a very peaceful exercise. It's definitely fills my cup when that's required. I get great enjoyment out of it. I can walk around with my camera just looking, listening, watching, and before I know it, I have this smile on my face. And it just makes me feel so good and so happy. I've been a birder for as long as I can remember. I've always liked birds. I've always been an animal person, but birds for some reason I've always had an affinity for. I can be walking along, I can be driving, I can be talking to someone, and I'll look up when I see a bird go past. Quite often I can recognise them from how they look in flight, which is maybe a bit weird. I don't know. I haven't really talked to anyone else about that. I just love birding. And it's such a very important part of my life, and I really need to do a lot more of it because I don't do enough. And a woman birder who inspires me would have to be someone who is also a photographer. Georgina Steitler, and I think that's how you pronounce her name, is the most sensational photographer, but she's also very genuine and down to earth. I've done a couple of her online seminars during COVID, and she's just happy and joyful, and she shares what she knows about birds and birding and how to get the best photos, and she doesn't muck around. She doesn't get super technical about bird photography. She really just does it for the love of birds, and I find her very inspiring. I mean, I'll never have the level of photography skills that she does, but seeing her work just inspires me and makes me, reinforces for me how much I love birds and birding. So that's me. It's great. It's a great activity. I try and get people into it. I try and rope people into it. It doesn't always work. And one of the things that I've enjoyed out of it is getting to know other women. And I've actually organised a group of women coming to our beach house on Phillip Island at the end of March. I've got 5 women coming who are all women birders, and I think it's going to be really important and really rewarding for all of us to just have that time to go out and do what we love doing, whether it's just observing, whether it's taking photos, but just being out in nature and sharing our experiences and sharing our love of birding with each other in a new environment for most of these women. So I'm hoping I can show them the best of what we have to offer on Phillip Island. And I think that's really a really positive thing to share with other women birders is some time where you can just be together and not have any other pressures and just enjoy what you're doing as much as you can.
Nish recorded the following piece while holding her new baby, so you will hear sounds from someone who will hopefully grow up to share Nish's passion for birds.
Hi Susie, it's Nish from York. What birding means to me, it means a lot of things. I find it therapeutic. I find it as a means of escapism. It helps me learn. It helps me grow. it makes me happy, and it makes me feel part of the cosmos, the world, in a more fundamental kind of way. It makes me think that life is not just about the grind. There is more to it. Also, it sort of, I think, for me, it gives me a bit of nostalgia for a time that I haven't lived, a past that we read in books, and it gives me this chance to inhabit a space that I might otherwise only read in books. As a woman birder, the challenges I have faced, basically, I think number one is safety. I think I haven't experienced any intimidation or any harassment when I'm out birding, but I'm always accompanied by a male when I go birding because I'm always safety conscious, having grown up in a place that's not the most safe for women. So I'm always conscious about safety. I don't do anything on my own after dark, that sort of thing. But I think one of the biggest hurdles is transport. Obviously, a lot of places are based in the countryside, away from the hustle and the bustle, and it can get really difficult to get to places. So unless you drive or have someone else to drive you, it's not sometimes easy to go birding. This is why I'm a huge proponent of urban birding, and I really wish we had more urban birding spaces in this country. Who inspires me? I think my mother-in-law. I think she kind of, I'm not saying the word brainwash, but she kind of trained me. I think she would talk about curlews and birds like that made a comeback in this country, red kites. And when I first met her, she was saying all these names, and they didn't mean much to me at the time. But as the years went by, I realized she is a casual birder, and she knows her birds, she knows her bird calls, but she probably wouldn't even see herself as a birder. But she was the first to point a curlew to me and eider ducks to me, and yeah, I think she sort of planted this seed, this kernel in my mind that there are these creatures out there that are infinitely interesting and beautiful, and it's worth paying attention to them. So yeah, I would say my mother-in-law definitely is an inspiration. And then there's the birders I've met through your group, yourself, Annika, Kari, Natasha. There's loads. Some of you lifelong birders or are new to birding like myself. But the passion and the enthusiasm you show, it makes me realize that I'm not alone, because this is not a hobby or a passion that sadly many people share. It's very hard. I have tried. It's very hard to find people of the same wavelength about birds who enjoy birding as much as I do in my local community. So the fact that there are people online I can connect with, it really makes me happy to know that there are people out there who have the same passion and love for birds.
My name is Stephanie Seymour, and I live in Ringwood, New Jersey in the U.S. And Susie's first question was what birding means to me, and that is not hard to answer, because birding really means so much to me. It means everything, really. When I'm not playing music, which is my other great passion, I am watching birds in my spare time. And I find that since I've gotten into birding, which was in 2004, it has brought me so much joy, so many new friendships, and especially just peace of mind. When I am outside watching birds in nature, I'm just at ease, and it really does calm me down and make me think about the bigger picture of things, which I think is important. I think everybody needs to do every now and then. I also run a private hawk watch with the Hawk Migration Association here it's actually my yard. And I take time off of work every year in the spring and fall to count hawk migrants. And that has been especially rewarding. I've done it for 8 years now, and I'm so happy to be contributing data that helps with citizen science and that also becomes part of a larger database that contributes to conservation efforts and things like that. So I'm so thrilled that I found birding. As a woman birder, I don't particularly feel I've had that many challenges because I'm female, but I have had a few instances throughout my years of birding where I suppose I felt more than anything maybe just like not seen, like seriously ignored by men who were in a group or something like that. But I feel like I've been lucky in that respect because it really hasn't happened that many times. And when it did, I just carried on. And once people realized I actually knew what I was doing and could identify birds maybe even better than they could, the tune changed. So I don't know. That was pretty much the only thing that ever really happened to me. Thank goodness I have never faced any harassment issues or anything like that, because I know there's many more serious problems that people have encountered. There's been one particular woman who has been very influential in my hawk watching experience, and that is Judy Sinkina. She's a hawk watcher for the Mount Peter Hawk Watch in Warwick, New York. And she's just been so gracious with her knowledge over the years and has really helped me fine tune some identification tips and things like that. So I really appreciate the fact that she's always there if I have a question for her. And she came over one time to my house and we sat and counted 29 red-shouldered hawks in one afternoon that flew over. And that was so exciting because I got to show how my yard is actually productive. So yes, I would like just to give a massive shout out to Judy Sinkina for all of her help over the years. Thanks, Judy.
Hi, I'm Charlie and I'm from the United Kingdom. To me, birding is a gateway to a whole wild world that exists alongside us. What I love about it is that wherever you are, city, town or countryside, nature is there waiting to be discovered. No 2 days in nature are the same. There is always something new to learn and something wonderful to explore. As a woman birder, I've experienced several challenges. The main thing is feelings of safety when I've been out alone in remote locations. There's nothing more daunting to me than pulling open the door of a dark bird hide and having to go in and open the shutters. That's why I love some of the more modern hides at places like Welney Wetlands or Titchwell Marsh. They are bright and super welcoming for everybody. I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by women birders who have welcomed me into the community, and even though I'm not a hardcore birder or anything close to that, my kind of birding is going for a walk, and if you happen to see something, then that's great. But they've welcomed me and they will always be on hand to ID blurred photos of birds from far away that I've spotted on my adventures. Whatever your level of expertise or experience, the natural world is there for everyone to explore wherever you are, and there's a wonderful community waiting to discover it with you.
Thanks to all of these amazing women for sharing their stories. It's clear that birding provides a sense of connection to nature, improves mental well-being, and can offer an escape from daily stresses. Being present in the moment while birding can instill a sense of calm and mindfulness. The importance of community, providing connection and support, cannot be overstated, and we all play a part in that. Let's continue to lift up and empower each other in our birding journeys. Find out more about some of the women birders you've heard from and enjoy the outcomes of their creativity that has been inspired by birds and nature. Chiara and Kate each share their awesome bird photography on Instagram. Charlie has written a book entitled The Life-Affirming Magic of Birds, which will be available soon. Kirsty has a wonderful show called the Weekend Birder Podcast. And Steph recorded an album called There Are Birds. She also appeared on episode 69 of this show. Links to all of these are in the episode notes. I wish you all a wonderful International Women's Day. I'd love to continue the conversation and hear from you. What does birding mean to you? Have you faced any challenges as a woman birder? And who has inspired you in your birding adventures? Let me know. Contact details are in the episode notes. The Casual Birder Bird Club is an online club that meets every month. If meeting up with a group of friendly people from around the world to talk about the birds you've seen sounds like something you'd like to do, you'd be very welcome to join us. All birders, no matter the level of experience that you have, are welcome to join. And keep in the loop. Sign up for email notifications of news, blogs and new episodes. As always, the links are in the episode notes. My thanks to Randy Braun for designing the artwork for the show. The theme music is Short Sleeve Shirt by The Drones. Thanks to them for letting me use it. Check out their website at dronesmusic.net. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you'll join me again for another episode of the Casual Birder podcast.